Hi, trumpet athletes. Thanks for joining me for another session. This is number 10 in the first volume of 21 Lip Flexibilities for Trumpet by Nathan Ost. I just did number 9. I don't know if I even mentioned which number it was, but hopefully I'll include that in the description if I did not. Today I decided to do these because I was finishing my warm-up and I realized, oh, this is a really good way, once I start feeling comfortable getting into the upper register, to start applying the skills. So some people say that the best exercise for swimming is swimming, and there's a lot of truth in that. So once you have the skills and you know exactly what you're aiming for, repetition is necessary. It's absolutely necessary. So here I'm going to be exploring a little bit because I haven't practiced these, but I'm just going to taste this, and this is listed at 126 for the tempo, number 10. And that seems pretty reasonable, but the intervals are pretty wide. So please feel free to assign yourself the appropriate tempos, or even take things out of tempo for the sake of sustaining vibrant, resonant sound through the notes and to the next notes, in between the notes. That's what these flexibility exercises for me are really all about. So I'm going to go ahead and play it as I did the last time on a B flat trumpet, and then I'm going to play it on a C trumpet. And since I don't have 3 hands, I can only show you the D trumpet with my B flat trumpet. Okay, so here we go. And I'm going to try it a little bit slower because I feel like I need to find the line and hear the line first. So right away I know, in order to play this through without fighting, without creating too much unnecessary tension, I'm going to have to get used to those lower interval slurs. And there are any number of ways that you can practice that. If you have the chops, you have the strength and the confidence, just practice the slur itself. Oh, that could be an exercise. So now I'm going to make it a little bit easier. So you can see the intervals get bigger, the range goes up, it's more difficult, I'm having less success. So in order to practice this kind of thing, play something that gives you more success. There's still plenty to work on. Even on the challenging ones, the less challenging ones, when I simplify it for myself, there's still a ton of stuff to work on. They're not perfect. They never will be perfect, but they can sure be more comfortable and more fun and more satisfying. Whether it's the sound, the physical feeling of playing them, whatever it is that you're getting pleasure from in doing it, it can be more pleasurable, and that's a basic principle of the way I practice. If it's not fun, then there's something wrong, and the work of finding out what's wrong and solving that problem can also be fun. So that's kind of my basic practice philosophy. So I invented an exercise. I didn't practice it very much, but oh, that was pretty good. Now here I'm really concentrating, and I want you to understand something. I'm not concentrating on execution. I'm concentrating on paying attention. In other words, I'm letting my body do what it already knows how to do, at least to a degree, and I'm watching what's going on. I'm observing it. That's the most important skill in your practice. I can't stress that enough. because otherwise you're just trying it over and over again and seeing if it works. You're kind of testing it. You say, oh, that worked pretty well, and then you go on to the next thing. And you're not really seeing what works and what doesn't. You're not observing in the qualities of the sound what is effective musically, what works, what functions in order to get the artistic result. That's really it. So focusing on on making something happen, that's willpower. Focusing on watching what's happening, that's putting your soul to work. Because you are the one who is watching. You're the one who is experiencing what's going on in your body and your mind. You're seeing it. So this brings this to another level when you're practicing. Okay, I've been talking a lot here, and it's all my philosophy, and I hope you can understand it. But it does work, and not only for me, for everybody I've ever worked with or observed, who's especially great players. We have different ways of doing this, but it's all a matter of how well we can observe and assess what's going on, learn what it is, diagnose it, and then come up with ways to address the issues and solve the problems. Then it's fun. That's what practicing is really all about in terms of developing skill. There's memorization practice and practice for hitting musical targets, so on and so forth. But here, we're basically working on physical skills. Now, I'm going to try and take it back up to tempo. Oh, wow, this looks a lot harder. I don't know if I can do this. Or it might actually be easier. So try not to anticipate the problem before it happens. Now, that can be fun, even if it's a little rough. If you've ever watched athletes, they don't always do everything perfectly, but they know exactly what they're aiming for. I grew up on skis, and though I only skied a little bit competitively, because I didn't find it that enjoyable, I skied a lot recreationally, just enjoying the sensation and, again, working on the skills, kind of what I'm doing with the trumpet. But when you watch a great skier ski competitively, you'll notice that they're not always in control. What they're doing is they're staying close enough to control and still going for it, releasing as much speed and as much power as possible without losing control. And that's exactly what we're doing when we play the trumpet. So any of you with athletic interests or things that you do athletically, any kind of mind-body coordination at all, as a matter of fact, it could be ballroom dancing, frisbee, whatever it might be. It could be anything. It's all valuable because it gives you a frame of reference for what we're doing here, and your body already understands this stuff. Okay, I've been blabbing away as usual, but I did on B flat. Now I'm going to try it on C, and you can understand that I've been playing up to a D on the B flat. So now I might have a little bit of trouble with range. But like I just said, don't anticipate the problem. Anticipate what you want. See if you can remember what the feeling is. So I'm a little tight. I got the note. It sounded okay. I had pretty good control, but I'm not singing. And see, this is a different level. Now, I realize most of you would be very, very pleased to be able to get the note, get it consistently, and have it sound halfway decent. And I'm looking at it in a different way. I'm looking at it, is it doing musically what I want, and how much is it costing me? In other words, how efficient is it? Can I do that easily, or am I starting to associate a tremendous amount of effort with playing that high note? Now, there is effort. There's no question about that. And any trumpet player is well aware of that. Great players play successfully because they don't waste their effort. That's pretty much it. So let me try it again. I don't know, let's see. I'll try it at that tempo. I might be pausing every now and then. was actually easier. And this tells you something. Slow practice is great. And I didn't watch them, but I was thinking about, what's that phrase? I think it comes from the Navy SEALs. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And then I saw a video, didn't watch it, but I saw a video that said, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and fast is fast. And I thought, I think that's what I just did. What I just did here. It was actually easier to get in the flow. So you can do both at the same time, and here's where my sustaining practice comes in again. So I just played it on C. Why don't I try it on D? Okay, now we're getting into, see how I'm anticipating? Oh, this is going to be hard. I had a wonderful guy I worked with, one of my students at Boston Conservatory a few years ago, who has a wonderful, positive, open personality. But in spite of that, he would always look at something and goes, oh, that looks hard. And I realized, I kind of do the same thing. It's like, whoa. And this is a memory of at a time when that would be hard. You got to put that out of your mind. I think when Herbert Clark said, you must eliminate all fear from your system. That means anytime that comes in, that's like, oh, that looks hard. That means you're doubting your ability to do it. Well, to be honest with you, I'm doubting my ability to do it right now. But I need to put that out of my mind and go for it anyway. Now, I'm going to cut myself a little slack and just play it a little slower. So now I'm starting to force a little bit. And instead of just forcing and making myself go fast and seeing how close I can get, which is great. That's like competitive skiing. You're in the gate and the gate opens, bam, you're on the course, and then you're throwing yourself down the mountain. So that's kind of what we're doing here, but we want to maintain control and not wipe out, not injure ourselves, right? So by the way, if you start to play into this register, don't try and do it just because you're hearing me do it. You have to build the skill to do it. If you're going to climb a great mountain, you need to be in physical condition to do that. Because even in your best possible physical condition, you might be stretched to your limit. Going to the limits is fun. I find it fun. But you don't need to do it when you're practicing all the time. You just find out what works. So I don't like that high D. It might be the horn, it might be the mouthpiece, it might be me. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, right away I see what the problem is. I'm going, because I'm already anticipating going to the high D. So I'm already starting to blow too hard, and I'm reacting to the feeling of the D trumpet, which is it's a little tighter, so I'm saying, okay, I gotta go. So I feel the resistance of kind of going uphill, and I start to grind against it. What I want to learn how to do is sing. So I'm looking for the sound first. I need to practice that. I'm a little bit too close to the edge of losing control. But I can still do it. I can get the notes. Most people at this point start trying too hard, because when you just use a little bit more effort, instead of using, like that skier, instead of using your skill, your anticipating, seeing the line, finding your balance, that's what we should be doing as a trumpet player. But most people say, I'm just going to try harder. And then you're working the muscles harder, but you're not really increasing the skill. You're actually decreasing it. You're starting to grind, so to speak. There's a place for that. When you're performing and you get to the point where you don't think you can do it, as Mr. Herseth always used to say, just open your throat and blow. So I'm going to try and do that now. Okay, forcing a little bit, but you see how I'm experimenting? I'll just let you in on what I'm doing. You saw me use different fingerings on the D. I didn't like any of them. Some of them might be better, so I need to decide. Probably not 1 and 3, because you don't want more tubing length than you're playing in that register. First valve or open? That's the real question. And I don't think either one of them are particularly good. So if I were going to look for a mouthpiece for this horn, I'd look for one that gave me a little bit better pitch control in the upper register, or I'd go to my favorite brass tech, hi Lou, and say, can I do anything about that pitch in the upper register? I probably ought to do that. That's a good idea. Note to self, talk to Lou about the pitch in the upper register on my D trumpet. But first, I'm going to see what I can do. So I didn't get all the way through, and that's because I didn't like the D, so I'm going to need to work on it. So now I know what problem I need to correct. Just releasing the air. Now I'm getting a little bit better. How do I know? Because it's not as difficult to get back down to the low notes and be stable and comfortable. If I can do that, it's all good. And how do I know? Well, I check it out and I stabilize on the low note. See, it took me a long time. What I'm aiming for is so that I'm going right on the note and it's stable immediately. And I made a kind of rigid gesture. Actually, I'm going through the note. So I'm always playing through the note. Okay, that's enough. That's enough hints and tips and musings on philosophy. Hope you enjoyed this session, and I invite you to go practice a little bit. I got somebody coming pretty soon, so I can get running here. I'll catch you later on. Have a great day. Bye-bye.